Hi there, thank you for joining me. So today I would like to do a vlog slash pickups video. You guys might be familiar with those. That was my last big video that I did. But in the past 2.5 months or so, I've picked up a handful of things that you guys might be interested in. And there's a handful of things that have been going on that I want to talk about too. I think I want to start off with something a little serious. I guess it's not bad, really. But maybe I'll try to put a thing if you guys want to skip to me just talking about the stuff I normally talk about, right? But yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys because it's something that I have been exploring and thinking about quite a bit. I don't think I've mentioned it on my channel, and I don't know why I feel so compelled to do so exactly. But I've kind of pinpointed some of the reason, a little bit of an explanation for why I have struggled, you know, with certain things in my adult life and probably my childhood as well. We're all unique. We all struggle. We all have our own struggles. I don't care how privileged or underprivileged we are. We all struggle with things. So I'm not saying I've struggled any more than anyone else, but I have bumped up against certain things, and it's been pretty mysterious to me. It's confusing even. Why am I seemingly fine with so many things, and then once in a while I run into these issues, and they can be pretty serious. You guys know my mental health's been a little rough, in the past couple of years. And I think we're in the middle of a mental health crisis. Again, it's not just me either. A lot of people are struggling. But I started doing a lot of research and watching YouTube videos and things like that. And I think that I'm autistic. I think that I'm on the autism spectrum, as they call it. And this has been. It's not even something that hasn't come up before, right? I've had people talk to me about this in the past a little bit, but it wasn't one of those things where they were so convinced that they were like, oh, I know what your thing is, and I wasn't diagnosed as a child, and it's something that I think I myself may have had certain kind of knee-jerk reaction or impressions or stereotypes, right, about people who are autistic. And it wasn't until I started reading a book recently, and then I started watching a lot of YouTube videos from other people who are like, hey, I was diagnosed autistic late in life, in my 30s, 20s, 40s, 50s, 70s. It's interesting, you start looking into it. A lot of people are like, oh wow, this, now I kind of get what's been going on. And so I tried to kind of take all of these perspectives and sort of these criteria and kind of apply them to my own life and sort of look at the experiences that I've had where I've struggled a lot and the things that I've excelled at. And I found that this has been super useful as a way of sort of looking at my unique situation and going, oh, this actually would explain a lot, an awful lot about, I kind of think it's the thing. So, it's really positive for me. There is I think I said I hadn't been formally diagnosed. There's a test, it's called the autism quotient test or something like that. I did answer those questions, and you just sort of grade it. There's just a little criteria. It's like if you answer this, and this, then that counts as 1 point each for these, and then you get to the end and you have a score, and if your score is around this level, you're probably on the spectrum, and I'm probably on the spectrum. So I feel compelled to share that too. I think maybe just because this YouTube channel, you guys listening to me talk about my particular specific interests, right, that I have, has been pretty helpful. I think I'm realizing more and more actually now how much I desperately need, people, I think, to interact with about those things, because they're actually really important to me. I think maybe more important to me than I ever really kind of realized, because I think I do get kind of hyper focused on certain interests, right? And the times when I feel a lot of camaraderie with other people is kind of when I can talk about those interests, or there's some kind of bonding over like my very particular niche things. So thank you for being a part of that. There's always some D-bag on the internet that's gonna say stupid stuff, but I think to an extent social media has actually been really helpful in normalizing some of these things, so that I cannot feel so also alone in this, right? I can kind of be like, other people struggle with these things, other people are on the spectrum, other people have mental health struggles and things like that. It's good. So if you guys can forgive me for that long-winded confession, I suppose, I wanted to say that. I don't know why. That was important to me. Yeah, so I bought stuff. I was doing some kind of bargain hunting, I guess. I want to start off with, I suppose, some music that I got. Way back in the 90s, I got into Björk, or Björk. She's Icelandic. You guys might know her. But she kind of had a solo music career. She's still making music as far as I know. I fell off of, kind of following her albums and things like that quite a while ago. But the other day I was just feeling kind of nostalgic. I was like, oh yeah, I listened to a couple Björk songs, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was remembering in particular a band that she was in before she was doing things solo, called the Sugar Cubes. And I also had gotten into them in the mid-90s. They were more active in like the late 80s and early 90s. And I realized I didn't have any MP3s on my computer. I checked Amazon, of course. They only had, I think, 3 full-length studio albums, and they were like $10 each, which is fine. But I wanted to not spend very much money, and I was like, well, let me check eBay, because nobody wants CDs anymore, right? And they were cheaper there. But then I also remembered a place called Declutter, and they were kind of like half.com before eBay got rid of half.com. So they have media, DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, that kind of thing. They also have like electronics and some stuff like that. But they were having a deal on CDs. I think it was like CDs that were normally $6 each, you could buy 2 for $8 total, or one of those kind of things. And then anyway, they had all 3 of these Sugar Cubes albums. So I think the first one here is the Sugar Cubes, Life's Too Good. I don't know if I've heard this album. It is from 1988, I believe. I'm sure it's great. The Sugar Cubes, Here, Today, Tomorrow, Next Week. This is from, I think, 1989. And this is the album that I had, the Sugar Cubes, Stick Around for Joy. This was from 1992. Very good. Being a band, Björk, of course, sang on this, but there was also this other guy who would sing, and like, no offense to him, I remember when I first heard it, though, I found him a little bit annoying. I'm like, I don't know, man, but like after listening to it for a while, like you get used to it, and it's cool. They go back and forth. He sings stuff, she sings stuff, and it's fun. I don't even remember, like, I mean, I remember what the music is like, but I don't know what how you would describe it. I mean, I would want to say it's like, pop rock. Like, I mean, I don't know, that's super vague. But I'm sure you can look up the Sugar Cubes on YouTube or something and listen to a couple songs. It's good. I like it. So anyway, 3 Sugar Cubes albums, and this was like, I don't know what, $7 or something like that for all of these, or $8. It was pretty cheap, so I was happy about that. Next on cheap stuff, I got more Marvel movies, I guess. Avengers Endgame and Thor Ragnarok. You can see here $12.99. Now, what I didn't realize about these, it says on the back here, previously viewed, because these were at the drugstore, like downtown, and I was like, man, I'm like, you guys have better prices on DVDs than they have on Amazon, right? And, but they're used, and I'm like, well, whatever, like, they've shrink wrapped this, and, they just, obviously, dynamic distributors, they have an official kind of distribution channel to these drugstores, and here they are. It's fine with me. I'll spend $12.99 on a, like a nice used DVD. This isn't full of scratches and stuff like that. It's like a kind of a certified. It might as well be new. It's nice, and I rewatched Endgame. I forget what the kind of the first half of this Avengers movie is. I like these Marvel movies. I just do. I read comic books when I was a kid. Not a ton, but like I read X-Men and I read Spider-Man, and I had, some, like I had 1 or 2 issues of Captain America. You ran across a lot of these characters. And these are fun. This in particular, it is a little like dark and dramatic and dreary. Honestly, like I rewatched this and I was like, man, it's like you don't really feel good afterward. I'm like, it's a little, I don't know, it's just heavy, right? But Thor Ragnarok on the other hand is quite. It's also like a heavy thing. It's sort of like it's Ragnarok, right? I mean, it's sort of the same thing. Endgame is kind of like this big apocalyptic thing, but this is dealt with much, like, so much more levity. Some of the humor is a miss for me on this, but I just rewatched this. I didn't rewatch this copy of it, but I think my dad recorded it digitally off a cable or something, and we rewatched it together, and it's great. I really like Thor Ragnarok a lot, but I think with these Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, the more there's like some entertainment and just like funny and fun action and things like that, the more I'm gonna rewatch a movie. Like I talked about Captain Marvel last time. That's like the kind of movie that I'll like to rewatch. The flashback memory stuff, like I said, that doesn't hold up on a second viewing, but pretty much the comedy and the action do. How many times am I gonna rewatch Endgame? I don't know, but it was worth whatever, $12, $13. Yeah, next up some anime, and I think I didn't buy any of this stuff from Amazon, so I think I've been making an effort to like not buy stuff from Amazon. Recently, we have these 2 things, I guess. Right Stuff is where I got these from. Galaxy Angel A, and Versus Night Lamine and 40 Fire. Now, I don't even know what to say about this. So Right Stuff in particular, I believe, is like Nozomi is their label, and so they are releasing Galaxy Angel. So I especially want to buy it directly from Right Stuff. One, because they are a anime like specialty shop, right? It's not just like Walmart selling anime DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. That's all they do, is they sell anime, and I'd like to see a major operation like that continue to do what they're doing, at least for now. And I'm excited that they're releasing Galaxy Angel. Last time I picked up Galaxy Angel Z, I think. So I still haven't rewatched those. I watched the first season, just Galaxy Angel. So I'll watch these probably soon. Um, Versus Night or NG Night was the first one, I think. This. So I've seen some of NG Night Lamine, and I've seen one of these, which I think was the OVA, because I think Versus Night Lamine and 40 Fire, I think is the TV series, and then there's like NG Night or Versus Night Lamine, I don't remember what it is, EX and DX. Okay, so those are OVAs. They're on here, and this 26 episode TV series. But anyway, this series in general, I had encountered it back in the day in the 90s on fan subs, I think. And it has this, the first series has this goofy theme song that Chisa Yokoyama sings. And I don't know what it is, but like Chisa Yokoyama's stuff is super nostalgic from back in the day. She voiced Pretty Sammy and Sasami from the Tenchi Muyo series. She was like Yuna in Galaxy Frontline Yuna. She was in this. She was in Zenki, Kishindoji Zenki. So it's really nostalgic to hear her voice acted roles, to listen to her songs and things like that. I just like that. This is one of those things. It's very shonen. You have this, this dude like fighting stuff and surrounded by like a harem of girls and piloting giant robots and all of that stuff. This is kind of like goofy. Shonen action stuff, like kind of verging on kind of misogynistic at some points in some ways, I almost want to say, but I remember enjoying elements of this, right? I've watched some of NG Night, the first one on Crunchyroll not that long ago, I think. It's not great. I would almost call it not even good, maybe, really. But it is kind of like, that's, I think, more like maybe very late 80s. And it's still, there's a warm fuzzy feeling, I think, when I watch that. So I've been wanting to watch this too. I think I'm gonna get probably the original series too. So I think this is their standard definition sort of SD Blu-ray. So they've basically just probably on one Blu-ray disc have all this stuff in standard def instead of high def. I think it's a good way to go for this older stuff like that. Lastly, we have a Dreamcast game. So, of course, with that eBay, I guess I didn't mention, it was eBay's 25th anniversary a few weeks ago, something like that. And they gave a coupon out, as far as I know, to everybody to get $25 off of something from eBay. So I was like, hey, free money, right? And I was like, I really want to get something for the Dreamcast. And it's hard, I spend, this wasn't that much, but I think one of these was $30, the other one was $25, something like that. These together, you could say, I think it was about 50. If you order like $50 or more, it's free shipping. So I know this was like enough to get me free shipping, right? So this wasn't exactly cheap. But you get a lot, obviously, for what you're getting with this. What was this, like $25 for these two things? Like I said, this was like whatever, $7 or something. It's a couple bucks. But like if I'm willing to spend that much on that stuff, right? And I'm like, these Dreamcast games are just gonna get either harder to get, more expensive, etc., etc., etc. And I'd like to keep working on this. Anyway, I'm actually quite excited about this. This is Pandora no Yume, or Pandora's Dream. And I don't know a whole lot about like the developer of this. This is Pajamas Soft. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously. It says on here, it's published by Interchannel, NEC Interchannel. So I think of any of the NEC Interchannel stuff as like kind of honorarily like PCFX successors, right? So maybe the kind of thing that would have appeared on an NEC system like the PC Engine or the PCFX, or maybe did appear on their computer systems, the PC-98 and that sort of thing, but were ported to something like a home console, the Dreamcast at the time. What's really cool about this, so one, I just went through my list of Dreamcast games that I still wanted, and then I went to eBay and I looked for anybody that was a US seller that was selling them, right? And it was like, no-go after no-go after no-go until I hit on this. Somebody had this for $30 or best offer. And I was like, well, heck. And I offered them $25, which was how much that coupon was for, and they counter-offered with $27. So for $3, which is a wonderful deal, I got this. But it says, yeah, it's the limited edition, and I guess I'll just kind of open it. I haven't. They said it was all wrapped, right? So I don't think any of this stuff. It's basically new. This is essentially brand new. The game hasn't been opened, and the extras haven't been opened either. This is a little picture frame that I think is like an easel. It has a little easel for it, and you set this. Well, actually, this might actually be a framed thing, and then maybe there's an easel that's more like a drawing or something on it. Anyway, I'm not really sure. It says on the front. Yeah, so it's a canvas that has a like a rough sketch maybe or something of Sue, which I think is this character here. And then it has a mini easel, which I think you put the canvas on. And then it has a something card case, which I think is what I showed you there. Anyway, so it's a limited edition, so I think that that's very cool. And but yeah, so the game and the story seems pretty interesting. This is probably what I would say kind of sounds like it starts off as like my favorite kind of galgay or whatever you want to call it, which is like kind of a comedy, right? It seems like funny, kind of fun-loving. This art club goes on a summer excursion, summer trip. You kind of play out that fun high school like comedy drama portion of it, but also they run into this robot girl, I guess, who I think is the main character, kind of main heroine on the cover here. And from what I read, this plays as a time loop. So you kind of play this, whatever week of summer vacation where you're going on a trip with the art club over and over again. And from what I hear, it gets pretty dark. It's kind of a dark story, right? And I'm like, that sounds super intriguing, seems like a really interesting thing. So I'm really happy about that. I don't know. I'm playing a game in Japanese right now, and I'm gonna actually post videos of it here on YouTube. So despite the dearth of content recently, I actually do have quite a number of videos saved up here. I'm going to start scheduling. They are not ones where I give a running commentary or translation or anything like that, though. So I think it is useful to have like a full playthrough of this game on YouTube because no one has played through it before. I've actually been commissioned to do the playthrough, so so that's a thing. But so that's going to be up, and you guys will be able to check that out. But just playing through a game in Japanese is reminding me, oh yeah, I like playing through games in Japanese. And I know I was saying that I wanted to not just read nerd Japanese, right? And like kind of get a little bit better at general Japanese that will help me to pass, N2 and N1 and things like that. But all I really want to do, like the end goal for me, is to read nerd Japanese. This is what I want to read, like in Japanese, like for better or worse, I don't know how to qualify that really, but that is what I want to do. So I'm a little busier these days. I actually have I'm doing things. I'm helping friends out and things like that on kind of a regular basis. So I have stuff going on, and it's good. Actually, it's really good. So things are going okay, but I don't have quite as much time. And I'm also doing a lot of fan translation stuff. So I have another channel where I talk about that kind of stuff, and sometimes I play games and in Japanese, or and things like that. So if you guys want to hear me like talk about how to hack old video games and how to fan translate them, and what projects I'm working on and fan translating and things like that, you can check out that channel. It's kind of getting more content than this channel is right now. So I think I mentioned it before, and I think I've linked to it before, but maybe I'll put it in the description. The PlayStation 5 thing happened a couple days ago. Long and short, I don't really care, but I mean, of course I care. I would be excited more, I think, about the PS5 if I was like, yeah, I can afford it, and I just really want to get it on launch, because I can. I don't think that I should, and I'm not even... I have old Dreamcast games that I want to play, you know what I'm saying? I think the most interesting looking things from the presentation was, of course, Final Fantasy 16. That looks great. So I'm curious to see more about that. I think when like a new Elder Scrolls game comes out, if I don't get that on PC, and I can afford it, right, that would be a great excuse to get a PlayStation 5. We'll see. I think architecturally it sounds super interesting. When they had the more technical presentation, this was more like, here's what games are going to come out on it. So, it looks great. I'm excited to see it, but I'm not going to be getting one day one. But anyway, thank you for, joining me, and spending some of your time, with me. That means a lot to me. When I follow people on YouTube, sometimes like you feel like you really get to know them. Like honestly, I have better conversations, so to speak. Like I think you have a chance to learn more about me watching my YouTube channel sometimes than people do talking with me in real life, right? Because here I'm talking about like stuff that, for better or worse, is actually really important to me. And sometimes, talking with other people, it's like, I don't know, you're talking about small talk and stuff, and especially if this, resonates with anyone else, then, we're kind of, like there's people I watch on YouTube, right, where I feel like I know them, in some capacity, just in their YouTube persona capacity, I guess, pretty well, and a lot of things about their personal life that they've shared and things like that, and like I feel like we're friends, but we aren't necessarily friends, if it's not reciprocal and they don't know you, so it's this very weird thing, but anyway, I guess I do want to thank you guys a lot for being friends with me in that kind of like one-sided way, right? Where you're interested enough in like the BS that I have to say to watch my vlogs on my YouTube channel. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks so much. I will catch you guys next time. Take care.